Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Lessons we can learn from the insanity in Ukraine. This is a long one, so we're going to have to compress it a little. As I've said before, it may look bleak at times, but the bleaker the challenge, the more willingness to find opportunities. This is one of those occasions for you. Shout out to Stefan Molyneux in his video, The Story of Your Enslavement, where he explains how humans have been dumbed down and conditioned into a domesticated cattle on a farm, their only value in their ability to be controlled. Not a pretty picture to awaken to, but certainly something to consider, considering the situation we're in. But here's the top three lessons for me to be learned: leadership, ethics, and organization. If nothing else, it's of high importance to know what excellence in leadership is, which means that even for the led, it's important to know what great leaders do and don't do and why. And the best way to learn is to practice. What is leadership? What is leading? How does one lead? Being the best, demonstrating expertise, having a skill, a talent, having confidence in their ability, able to communicate their value to others, being uncompromised, having enthusiasm, courage, endurance, integrity. These are things everyone should have and can develop, like walking. It's just like walking. Now, looking at the Ukraine situation, both leaders have sold out their population for war. They are encouraging conflict and violence, destruction of many people's property that's not theirs, damage to people's lives, trauma, death, etc. There is much harm being unleashed and few responsible parties at the top. If it goes bad for these leaders, they're not going to get anything other than a mansion and some remote paradise. However, the people are going to be left with the bag. This is leadership to ruin. How did it get this bad? How did people allow these reckless tyrants into a position of authority? Obviously, they had to be ignorant of the distinction between good and bad leadership. Ethics is a very misunderstood word and has many possible implications. So let me clear up what I mean when I say it. I'm referring specifically to applied ethics, what one does in the moment that either benefits them or those around them or harms. This is sometimes described as a difference between intelligent and stupid behavior. If people do harm to themselves or others or both, I define that as stupid behavior, and in regard to applied ethics, unethical if the person is aware of the harm. In the Ukraine situation, being on the world stage, it's the responsibility of the world press to raise awareness of the harm, and if found, to give concerned people apparent facts so they can figure out who is responsible for the inequities being created. Obviously, much of the press isn't reporting on the harms, including the one it does itself when it broadcasts propaganda and lies. Unethical behavior in the sea of unethical behavior. Using force is unethical when a better way exists. A better way exists always when both parties are breathing. And this extends down to every trigger pull or everyone that does harm. There's no glory or honor in participating in war. Only losers and fools. Fooled into doing something stupid, something harmful to themselves and to others, the worst of the stupid acts. Organization. Stefan portrays countries as competing farms. I would say it's more like prisons. In my opinion, there's largely no creativity in a developed hierarchy, and that's one of its most glaring downfalls. Unfortunately, the masses have been incessantly taught that that's the only organizational structure there is to get things done. In the Ukraine situation, people have been encouraged to be segregated into opposing groups, pro-Ukraine and pro-Russia. Gustave Le Bon's book, The Crowd, pointed out the tendency of groups for people to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do if they had to be individually responsible for it. This is a narrative constructed leading people into that trap. They are being encouraged to fear and hate their counterpart and then to do damage and destruction. Both are going to be the losers in this situation, and both are going to create scarcity and hardship for each other. So, in conclusion, there are many lessons to be learned, as well as a distinct warning to those who refuse to learn. War in Ukraine is the same technique that's been used over and over for over a century now. You and I have a choice. It's our responsibility to restore our authority to rule ourselves. Is that something you want? I do. They're operating a broken system. You also have a choice to be peacefully collaborating with others rather than contributing to a disaster or catastrophe. You and I can grow stronger or we can atrophy into weakness. It's up to us, no one else. It's getting serious now.